Shh. Quiet in the room, please. Ladies and gentlemen and everybody involved in tonight's event, please put your hands together for New Tech Seattle.
UW version.
UW version. Please, quiet in the room, quiet in the room. If you are looking to network, shh. If you would like to continue networking, there is plenty of green space outside. There's actually a really nice courtyard right in front. This is the time, though, for the event where we're going to bring value to you. And that begins with introducing who the heck are we? So who are we?
I'm green.
I'm red.
And how many of you have never been here before, so you have no idea what you're even in the middle of?
Nice, nice.
Awesome. Thank you for coming. If you've been here before, raise your hand.
Woohoo! Welcome back.
Thank you for making the trek. Sometimes people don't want to deal with the traffic to get across to UW parking. We've been doing this 7 years now, and in a moment we'll have somebody from UW tell you a little bit about what they're doing at this point and what we're doing together. The reason we did this, if you don't know much about New Tech Seattle, is we have monthly events, the largest monthly tech events in Seattle, and we bring together everyone in the tech community. There's investors, there's students, there's recruiters, there's engineers, and there's people who are just interested in hearing about cool new tech that's being created. What we're really about is building the community. So when you come to our events, the idea is that you feel like you're at a neighborhood block party and you're the new neighbor on the block, so people are just curious about what you're up to, and everybody's there helping each other to build their tech careers or tech companies. So it's not black or white, Seattle or East Side, not even tech or not tech. It's people that are into innovation, wanting to meet quality people and create more great innovation together. So if that sounds good to you, please say, hell yeah. It's going to be a good night. I would tell you to go to Facebook live stream, but we're having technical difficulties, so there's no live stream tonight.
Tonight is a unique event. Only you will be able to experience it.
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. Actually, there's a big gap right here in the middle of the room. Could everyone just, who's in the middle of the room, take like 5 steps forward?
They might block the camera.
It's okay. We're not going to block the camera. It's in the green zone, except for that tall guy in front of the camera. You. But everybody else, please bring it forward. If you want to network, get out of here and take some wine on the way. For everybody else, a little bit forward. Come on. There's just this huge gap. There we go. Perfect. All right.
So these presenters will be coming up soon. The presenters tonight are all companies that were founded by either UW professors or UW graduates, and they're all doing some pretty cool and amazing things. And it's actually hard to only narrow it to 5 every year because there are so many great companies being started by people who come out of this department and UW in general.
Looks like we're live streaming because someone decided to put an iPhone on a stick.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we're very grateful to UW. We started this event a little over 6 years ago, and this is actually our 7th anniversary with UW, trying to bring the community together, connect the students with companies that they can intern with or get jobs with, and start building their relationships within the community. And is Curtis around? Oh, you're right here. Okay. So without further ado, Curtis, please come up. Tell him what's happening at UW right now. And Curtis has a new baby and not a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
So he's going to be on it tonight.
Great. I can't really just blank, so we'll see how this goes. Wait, it's happening. Hello. Okay, yes. So hi, I'm Curtis Heimerl. I'm an assistant professor here in the computer science department. I'm also the chair of the entrepreneurship committee, which is just me, actually. But there's a lot going on in CS right now. We wanted to call out. First off, you are in what is known as the old building, which is a building about 10 years old, versus our new building, which is across the way where I live. It's brand new, it's beautiful. And so that's going to allow us to train an enormously large amount of students in computer science and continue to contribute to the tech ecosystem throughout Seattle. We've also been hiring a number of new faculty across fabrication, data science, a number of areas. And so we're continuing to do well and all that. And I'm really excited that all of the speakers here are UW alum, or UW affiliated, I should say. And so I think it'll be a great event. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis.
Get some sleep.
So we'd like to thank our volunteers and people on our team. This doesn't happen without them, so please clap for them.
Woo!
Give them love. Some are here, some are not here. We also cannot do this without our sponsors, so we're very grateful to them. A few of them are going to come up for a minute and tell you a little bit about what they're doing and maybe throw some stuff at you. Maybe swag. Do we have swag to throw at people? Okay, a little bit of swag. That'll be good. First off, Nintendo is our title sponsor. They are sponsoring all 40 of our events for an entire year. And a lot of people don't realize that they've been in Redmond like almost 40 years now. Yeah, long time. Come up, Chris. So Chris is going to tell you more about what's up at Nintendo.
What's the button? This one? This one? Wow. A lot of Mario. Good evening. So Nintendo has been in Redmond, Washington, as you said, for 30 years. A lot of people don't know that. And we're trying to expand our brand a little bit. And HR is very sad that I am here talking to you tonight because I'm an engineering manager, not HR. But I have been instructed to give our message, which is that Nintendo is an entertainment company. And we're trying to diversify our workforce. We're already a fairly diverse workforce. I can guarantee you, of the campuses I've worked on, and I've worked on several in the Seattle area, Nintendo is a very diverse workforce. We work to put smiles on people's faces, and a lot of people have been there for 10, 20, 30 years. And we are hiring. I think the key thing is that we are hiring, and we have about 100 positions in North America. Most of them are in Redmond, Washington. We do technical and non-technical. I am on the technical side. If you have non-technical questions, I suggest you go to the Seattle event. And all characters are welcome. Oh, I almost always forget. We have swag, and I almost always forget. I think this is the first time I've remembered. Please come by and get some swag.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Yes, there's more to UW besides just the CSE department.
It's true. Hey, everybody. My name is Sarah. Some of you may, I'm in the middle of that light. Some of you may recognize me from Impact Hub Seattle, the proud host of many, including the very, very first one 7 years ago. I am now here at the University of Washington with the Foster School of Business and the Burke Center for Entrepreneurship. And what I think is the most cool thing about the Burke Center for Entrepreneurship is that entrepreneurship doesn't just live at the Foster School of Business. I know there's a lot of perceptions about the Foster School of Business majors, all of that, but at the Burke Center, we really believe that anyone can be an entrepreneur and that we can teach you the skills on how to do that. No matter what you end up doing, you are going to want to know how to build a team, how to work with a team, how to take your idea from 0 to 60, whether that's pitching it to your manager or starting your company of your own, and we can teach you all of that. So my coworkers are in the back. If they could just wave for a quick second. Reagan and Charles are here to answer any and all of your questions about the curriculum that we've organized. We are interdisciplinary, so we work with all of the schools throughout the campus, as well as with schools within the region, because we really believe that we can build more power through a strong regional entrepreneurial ecosystem. We're in the middle of our business plan competition, so for any of you who are not students and who do not have any plans to go back to school, but have some life lessons that you would like to share with our students, please come and talk to me, because I'm looking to recruit judges, coaches, and mentors to work with students on their ideas so that they can build companies that are good for the world, that they can hire more employees, and that they can ultimately contribute to what I think is a pretty awesome region and a pretty awesome city of Seattle. So come talk to us in the back, and it's great to see you all. It's been a while since I've been at New Tech, so nice to see everyone. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sarah. Get around. Get around.
Come on. Get on
around.
Down. Bueller.
It's kind of fun to say. We could just do it for a while. I know. See, it's a long way from back there. Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. So essentially, Get Around is peer-to-peer car share. So if you think it's like Airbnb, but for your car. So if you're, we're based out of San Francisco, and we're new to Seattle, but we're growing really rapidly. And so if you're looking for a great way to make some passive income, then listing your car through GetAround is a great way to make like $500 to $1,000 a month extra. Or if you don't have a car and you need a reliable way to get around the city, or if you want to go and pick up groceries or something and don't want to take public transportation, then being able to rent a car from your neighbor right down the street easily through the app without having to do a key exchange because it's all done through the app, then we're here for you. And we're actually giving $50 in driving credit if you're interested in checking it out. So come on back to our booth, and we're also doing a drawing for a $100 gift card to a Seattle restaurant. So be sure to visit us. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Metis?
Hi, my name is Cliff Clive. I'm a senior data scientist at Metis. Metis is a data science education company. We offer corporate training programs. We also offer a 12-week full-time boot camp for teaching students data science skills, algorithms, theory, project design, communication. We also have a full-time careers counselor. Most of our students are either recent graduates who are looking for a stronger technical skill set, or professionals who are looking for a career change. We teach a cohort once a quarter at New York, San Francisco, Seattle, and Chicago. It's a full-time program, and our next cohort starts July 1st. Application deadline is May 28th. We're back in the corner there. Come ask me if you have any other questions. We have swag, but it's not super throwable. So, again, another reason to come back and say hello.
All right, thank you so much. And now, one of the things to remember about this company that we've created, this organization, New Tech, is we're about introducing you to everyone. We do not take sides. And even while we're at UW, at one educational institution, we'd like to invite up another to talk about how they're rising up the tides in the Seattle tech community.
Wow, rising up, that's a great way of describing it. Hi, I'm Tiffany Schultz. I'm the marketing coordinator at CityU. If you've probably been to Belltown, which I assume most of you have, we are right next to Pink Elephant, and I have a little spiel to give you. CityU is a private nonprofit university recognized as a top 10 educator of adults nationwide, and is designated a National Center of Academic Excellence in Cyber Defense Education by NSA and Department of Homeland Security. We actually were just given that designation recently. We're also ranked in the top 50 for best online bachelor programs in the nation for 7 consecutive years. We just hit our 7th year. And if you'd like to learn more about what our services are and what programs we have available, come stop by our booth. And then I also, for you sustainable crazy people, we got some reusable bags, and they're kind of sharp, so don't hit your eye, and please don't hurt yourself. Okay, those weren't good throwing. Thank you.
Good aim. So Developer Week, they're not here, but we wanted to tell you about them. This is a free, I believe it's free. I probably shouldn't say this, I'm not positive. It's on May 30th and 31st. They have been in San Francisco and I think Boston, and they are coming to Seattle for the first time, and this is a cloud edition. So if you have any interest in cloud computing, they have some really big experts and rockstar cloud people that will be at this. The 30th and 31st. If you go to our website, there's some more information on the, if you just go look at our community calendar, and you'll learn more there. And finally, our nonprofit partner is the United Way. We sometimes rotate nonprofit partners, and we're moving into doing a continuing every month partnership with United Way because they support other nonprofits and spread the love around to make great things happen. And part of our giving back, we specifically focus on women and untapped minorities in STEM education, as well as homelessness issues. And United Way is pretty much the king and queen of that in Seattle, making actual things happen that are moving things forward. So I'll shut up now. I should have just let you go. So
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Archana, and I'm from United Way of King County. Today, we're inviting you to join us in building a community where people have homes, students graduate, and families are financially stable. And you can do that right here. So we have a table at the back where we're signing you up for our monthly newsletters, which gives you more information about our Emerging Leaders program, our volunteering opportunities, and ways that you can give back and make a difference. We also have this, which is not a throwaway. I'm not going to throw these at you, but they're little snack packs. So these are snack packs that you can assemble together at our table, which will be given out to students and kids as part of our summer meals program. So when school's out, students don't have access to free or reduced price meals, breakfast and lunch at school. This is supplementing that. So come be part of our action, be part of our mission, come make a difference. Thank you.
So I shouldn't have reached into there and grabbed some of those Welch's. God, I feel so guilty.
So raise your hand if you have a phone. Couple of you, that's good. Those who didn't raise their hand
are on their phone.
Yeah, probably. So if you have your phone, take out the LinkedIn app. I'm assuming you have the LinkedIn app on your phone. If you don't have the LinkedIn app on your phone, then you should download it quickly. So we're going to do something. This is in real time. This is just going to be for a couple of minutes. But there's something on LinkedIn you probably don't know about because the only time it works is in situations like these where everybody in one room are doing this together. So
to make this really awkward, we're not even going to say anything. Read.
No, they don't work.
Oh, they can't.
Yeah,
this isn't good.
It's easier to do this. So open the app. At the bottom, you see the two little people heads. Hit the people heads, and then in the middle it says Find Nearby. So if you click on Find Nearby, that means anybody in this room will see your LinkedIn profile. So it's an easy way for you to connect with people in the room, and you can find who might be good people for you to talk to when you're here, or if you realize later that they'd be good to connect with and they weren't here, you can shoot them a message on LinkedIn. So we'll take just a couple minutes to go through there and just click on the connect buttons, and it'll send invitations, and we can make sure that you walk out of here knowing some more good people than when you walked in here, which is one of our goals when you come to a new tech event.
If for any reason you find that technology is bringing you into a room to meet other people using technology, that is where we are in 2019. For everybody else, once you have completed this, let's put the phones away. Because you're physically in a room with other people that you can say hi to. That's weird. This was actually taken here. Okay, that's meta. So here's what we're going to ask you to do. We're actually going to take the next minute, and instead of you relying on technology to meet someone, we're going to rely on natural human skills. The same hand that is used to text your friends on your phone, I want you to put it up, and you're going to high-five the person to the left and to the right of you for the next 120 seconds. You're going to ask, who are you, and how can I help you? Go.
Nice segue, man. of the time that you're wearing it, it's like disintegration.
That lasts 2 weeks, and then it's gone.
Right.
Hey, you cut that.
Okay. I was going to have you introduce the people you know. You need to get out. All right. All right. So you got to. This is your secret piece. And I'll let you go.
All right, it's been 126 seconds. Sorry. Shh. Stop meeting people in person and rely on your phones, damn it. Jeez. Facebook, have you heard of it? Okay. Shh, it was a joke. I kind of like the in-person thing. Raise your hand. No, make some noise if you met someone awesome just now. Come on. You even raised your hands. That's a really good sign. Please make some noise if you didn't meet someone awesome. Funny. Okay, so the goal of the event is what we consider to be manufactured serendipity. Our job is to put you in a room in the hopes that you'll meet that co-founder, right? These sticker colors, putting you in a room and putting you in chairs, forcibly sitting next to someone, it's the hope that you'll find someone you can go home with, because we have stories every event. If for some reason that didn't work, we're going to try to connect the room a little bit more. Please, if you are new to Seattle in the last month, please stand up. If you just came to the city of Seattle in the last 30 days, if you're already standing, please raise your hand. Shh. Raise your hand if you are new to Seattle in the last 30 days. Okay, good. First of all, thanks for not being new to Seattle, because traffic already sucks. For the rest of you, stay up. Name where you came from. We're going for a distance record. And how can we help you as a community? Go. Outdoor voice, yeah. Thank you, Chris. The distance is Chicago. Can you beat it?
Yeah, I'm Scott. I didn't actually move here. I just got here for a week, but I work in Bloomington, Indiana as a Computation tester, and I like meeting people and doing fun things. Let me know if you have any fun things to do.
If anyone wants their technology pen tested, run, leave. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for making sure our vulnerabilities are in front of everyone, front and center. Everyone, put your hands together for these two individuals and get to know them. They're new. I mean, even for the week, let's give them a good example. Let's see how it's like. You could sit. It's good. For everybody else who is not familiar with new tech, there's also online resources. There's a website. So if you didn't get success tonight, we built a calendar. We're promoting all other events. If there are events that you want to get up there, we will post them. If there are jobs you're looking for, we will post them. And I think there's even a job fair, because we like the physical part of the events, right? What? You are more. I didn't even see her standing. Was she standing? Please forgive me. Make your outdoor voice known. Distance record set. Thank you. Was there anyone else I missed? Just be like, red. No one? Okay, good. Thank you for pointing that out, and welcome to Seattle for the week. All right, so with that, we want to promote the community. Obviously, if you're not on Slack, get on there. There's a community for Slack that we support, getting to know each other while you're in the workday. So if you need a break from work, take a break with the community. You know what? I think we're done promoting the community. At this point, it's time to talk about the people who've risen to the place where they could tell the community about their experiences. So there are simple rules. We invite speakers up to the stage to share their experiences about how, beyond UW, they've elevated themselves to supply something that makes the world a better place. But they get 5 minutes to do that, which isn't exactly easy if you're trying to make the world a better place. So we need to help them. When there is 1 minute left, and we have someone in the front row that will be counting down times.
We don't.
Oh, no. So
Anyone
Brett,
want to be a volunteer timekeeper?
ooh, volunteer timekeeper who's here for the
Wow,
week.
here for a week. See, you're
Put your hands
involved,
together.
man.
So here's the deal. This person
So
doesn't
you gotta
know
look
it,
at your phone.
but he's
Set
got
a timer on your
control.
phone.
If there's 1 minute left, he will raise his hand in the air and put his finger up into the air. Can you do
Put
that
the
for me?
timer for 5 minutes, and then when it gets to 1.
When 1 minute's left, put your hand in the air. Put it in the air. Everyone else, put your magic finger in the air when he puts his finger in the air. Put that finger away, okay? Every month, there's always that one guy. Okay, so when his finger goes in the air, it's a way of telling the speaker there's 1 minute left. If you go over that minute, no questions. You can use that extra time if you really want to pour your heart out. But again, think about the community. We have questions. So try to nail it down in that last 60 seconds, and that's the only rule. Inspire and make use of those 5 minutes.
And then you got 3 minutes Q&A.
Is everybody ready to get started tonight? Oh, no, Brad. I don't think that's energy. Come on, pump them up.
Are you ready? You're here. These guys are awesome. They've got amazing technology. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a UW. Welcome. Whether you're from here or not, you're in UW right now. So no pressure, man. You're kicking it off. You got to deliver it. Ladies and gentlemen, Sound Life Sciences.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Scott will be kind with the timer, I hope. My name is Nick Mark. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sound Life Sciences. Sound Life Sciences is a digital therapeutics company focused on using Sonar to address unmet health needs. We imagine that this technology can be useful to solve many problems, but tonight I'm only going to tell you about one, though it's a big one. I'm sure many of you have heard that opiate overdose is a major problem. To not be hyperbolic at all, this is the worst public health crisis in modern American history. In 2017, over 49,000 people died from overdose, making it the leading cause of death before age 50. As you can see on the map to my right, this is a problem in big cities, in small towns, and in suburbs. This is a problem in red states and in blue. And sadly, despite spending tens of billions of dollars on this problem over the last decade, it's a problem that continues to get worse and worse. What makes this tragedy even more acute, because every one of these deaths is a tragedy, but what compounds that tragedy is the fact that these deaths are highly preventable. Specifically, there is an antidote for opiate overdose. This is called naloxone. This is highly effective. You can pick this up in any pharmacy. It works incredibly well. How well, you ask? Well, it's estimated that 95% of people who overdose can be saved if they get naloxone within a few minutes. Unfortunately, however, less than 6% of the people who are overdosing actually get the antidote. So why is there that incredible disconnect? Well, sadly, it's quite simple. The majority of people who are dying, 2/3 of them, in fact, are alone when they overdose. There's no one there with them who can recognize the problem and give them that life-saving antidote in time to help them. Fortunately, however, the vast majority, 94% of those victims, have in their pocket a smartphone. And this is where we come in, because we see the opportunity to use our technology, coupled with the hardware they already have, to help save their life. So let me present Second Chance. Second Chance is a mobile app that runs on a smartphone that converts that phone into a mobile respiratory monitor. The way it works is simple. The person places the phone in front of them and it monitors their breathing. As many of you probably know, when you overdose, you become unconscious and you stop breathing. If that happens while you're being monitored, you'll see this. It will start alarming. If you don't turn off that alarm, it'll escalate. It'll make a really loud sound like a smoke detector. So if there's somebody who has naloxone in the next room, they can come help you. If nobody comes and turns it off, it'll escalate one step further. It will activate 911 through a commercial API and pass along what's going on with you, that you're overdosing, and where you are so you can get help in a timely manner. Now, this may seem like a crazy, radical idea, but I would wager that almost every single one of you has already bought into this mental model in your home today. And what I mean is this. You combine a monitor with a highly effective intervention, and then you can take action to avoid tragedy. What we're proposing is the same thing. You combine a mobile respiratory monitor that works using only software with a highly effective antidote, and you can prevent deaths from overdose. So how does this work? Let's go inside that phone and I'll show you. The key is something called frequency modulated continuous wave sonar. In short, the phone's speaker emits high-frequency sound above the range of human hearing. That sound comes out of the phone, bounces off the environment, and then goes back to the microphone. As you breathe and as your chest moves, it alters the timing and the frequency of that reflected sound. As you breathe and as the frequency changes, our algorithm can actually identify the breathing signal inside. And we can use that to monitor your breathing and call for help if needed. It's also worth noting that if we do this on a smart speaker, where we have an array of microphones, unlimited battery life, we can monitor multiple people at once continuously. So I want to emphasize that this is not just an app, this is a platform. There are icons here, hopefully. I want to emphasize one other thing too, which is that our mission is to provide this to the people who need it at no cost to them. And so even though we've gotten money from the federal government to do this, we're interested in partnering with the companies that make the antidote, the state and local governments, and the insurers who are paying for the cost of overdose to provide this to the people who need it. Final slide. I want to conclude by saying that this is something which we can apply to many other problems. We can use it to keep elderly people who live alone safe in their homes. We can use it to keep infants safe in their cribs. And we can use it to take better care of people who have chronic medical conditions. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you're interested in signal processing, if you share our passion for using technology to help people, please reach out and contact us. We're hiring. We'd love to meet you. Thank you very much. All right, Scott. Do I get to ask questions? Do I get to answer questions?
Questions?
Okay. So it depends on what you're running it off of. If you're running it on a mobile phone, the range is about 1 meter. If you're running it on a speaker where you have more microphones and more speakers, the range is greater, up to several meters potentially. That's right. So
please repeat the question.
Yeah. So let me repeat the question for you, so people in the back can hear. So the question was, do we have partners with the companies that make Narcan, naloxone? The answer is we've spoken to several of them. Several of them are interested. You know, there are a couple different. This is one of the formulations of it. There are 7 companies that make this drug. We're definitely interested in meeting them and working with them to co-brand or to partner. That's a great question. So the question is, why don't people who are at risk for overdose have the antidote with them? And the answer in many cases is they do. The problem is you can't give the antidote to yourself. It's not like an EpiPen where if you start having an allergic reaction, you can treat yourself. Almost by definition, if you need it, you can't give it to yourself. So you need somebody else to give it to you. So another great question. So the question is, where does the phone need to be in order to work best? So the way to think about it is this is sound. It's just like if you're on a conference call or something. It's best if the phone is pointed at you like this. If the phone is at an angle, if it's pointed away, it won't work quite as well. It doesn't work in your pocket. You have to put the phone in front of you. But it's worth noting that this is where putting it on a smart speaker adds some advantages. So imagine if you have this software running on like a bedside speaker. You could monitor somebody continuously without them having to do anything. So the question was, how is it affected by sound in the room? And it's another important question. So we're using high frequency sound, and fortunately, the world is a fairly quiet place at 18 to 22 kilohertz. There isn't a lot of environmental sound. We've tested it with like music, television, fans, air conditioners, heaters. It works in all of those. If it's next to a really loud source, like a blasting TV, it doesn't work quite as well, but it still works. Mm-hmm. So does that mean everyone that could misuse opiates, whether you're a heroin addict or you just take too many vitamins, or is it for everyone? Yeah, another great one. So the question was, who is this for? Who can use this? And to be clear, so there are millions and millions, over 200 million people are prescribed opioids each year in the United States. There's about 35 million people who take opioids every single day. And then there's a couple million people who abuse opioids, including about 1 million people who inject opioids like heroin. So the people who inject are at the highest risk. About 2/3 of those who die are in that population, 1/3 everybody else. the app is focused at those people first, but as we move it onto a smart speaker, we anticipate that this will be something that can be used for all of the people who are at risk. So imagine you have knee surgery and you go home with a bottle of Vicodin and you want to be safer taking it. You could have a smart speaker on your bedside monitoring your breathing when you go to sleep.
One more question?
So the two good questions there. I do like the dog question, actually. We get asked that a lot. So we have inadvertently tested this with dogs. We tested this at a supervised injection facility in Vancouver, Canada, on about 209 people, and about 10 of them had dogs with them. And the dogs didn't seem to mind, based on our teams and their owners' opinions. It's hard to ask the dog that question. To the other question of what about other ways of monitoring? What about, if it's in your pocket, could you use an accelerometer? It's a great idea. I think certainly if people were willing to keep their phones in a shirt pocket, that would be a really good option. I think in a pants pocket, it's problematic. I think there may be many ways to add on to this technology to add sensitivity in other settings, and that might be a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Oh, do you have the clicker? Oh, yeah. It happens a lot. So our second presenter for tonight is GeneMod. Our second presenter for tonight is GeneMod. That's a good welcome.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, New Tech Seattle. It's so great to be here. My name is Jacob, CEO and co-founder of GeneMod, and our mission is to accelerate life science research by streamlining day-to-day operations for scientists and students. But before I continue, I'd just like to kind of gauge how well we know a few popular scientific topics. So if you've heard of it and can explain it in a few words, keep your hand raised. And if you can't, put your hand down. So could I get a show of hands? How many of you have heard of stem cell therapy? Okay. How about CRISPR? Okay. What about CAR-T? Okay, that's probably lost about 75%. What about this? So, so media and popular culture, they do a great job with really covering hot topics, but there's a lot of things that go more behind the scenes, and this is really just part of the process that happens from drug discovery all the way to when a drug is FDA approved. And really, even then, a lot of the focus is in the clinical side, phase 1, 2, 3, HIPAA, regulatory space, and the FDA. But when we talk about the preclinical side, we leave that to scientists because that takes a lot of years of textbook knowledge to actually know what happens and what goes on. But in a recent Nature article, a lot of the researchers actually it's very difficult to understand that. And the reason is because there's a lot of different modalities of information coming in. So think about anywhere from protocols to data science, to analyzing, to people management, inventory. So all of this is really hard to make sense of what that is. So in a way, it's evolved very organically, but also inconsistently. And so this is a very typical research lab. You can see that there's a lot of things going on, many different documentation methods. In the office space, it's not too much different. Data management, data archiving, those are huge problems that are actually in both academic and in industry research today. And even in the scientific software field, it's a very polar spectrum. So you have free tools that you can Google, but also very expensive tools that are typically to just download it on the end user device. And so our mission really is to maximize productivity for scientists and students so that they can streamline, standardize a lot of the workflows, and also do their scientific work. And how we imagine this is really something that end users, they can log into their individual accounts. Maybe if they're a part of the team, they can streamline all of their tools on this left-hand side. And so really in that way fosters collaboration, data sharing, but they can also do their work such as engineering their next construct. Now to make this happen, we have to consider also a few pieces of our technology, and namely the first one is cloud computation. And we've seen this transform so many other industries, but when we look at the scientific software space, it's largely archaic, but it is emerging. It is an emergent technology. Now, paired with this, with interconnectivity, we want to build tools that really speak to each other, not tools that leave the scientists disconnected, almost kind of that input-output model. And we do this by having a very intuitive design, fitting into the way that scientists already do their work, and then we can host this on a platform that is entirely scalable, something that we work on a browser interface. There's about 1 million or so scientists and professionals, and this is growing year by year, so we also see this as a really emerging trend, but also a market need. And so if you're a scientist, investor, or software engineer that would love to help us on our mission, happy to talk to you afterwards. Thank you very much. Any questions? Sure. Our biggest roadblock, actually, we've been working on our beta launch, but that is the nature of scientific tools. There's that R&D component that is required to be a robust, something that scientists can actually use. And so actually right now, our primary goal is to launch a beta to our current signed partners to pilot test. Yeah, the question was what niche is our tool trying to solve. So it's very life science research. So think of anything from cancer biology to immunology research to anything environmental sciences. Typically, we say if you use a pipette in bench research, you can use our tool. Yeah. Yeah, so how's our software different from Slack and other collaboration software? So actually, Microsoft Office is kind of the status quo in a lot of different industries, but they're not specifically built for that purpose. So if you look at inventory management, you might see Excel being used to manage your inventory and your freezers. It's not a scalable way to do that. And so that's also the same with communicating with your team. Now, we're also building, our software also allows scientists to do their work. And so I think it might be a little bit hard to do basic sequencing on Slack. Yeah.
Given the just huge breadth of diversity of tools and different scientific backgrounds and all these different angles that they come at that they're going to need a piece of software, do you see that being a bottleneck with different scientific groups and different types of research and approach, like UI, UX, or just the data needs, or is there enough common denominator to dispatch this to the whole breadth of scientific research?
Yeah, so the question is there too many tools or too much ground that we're trying to cover? So our current pipeline, we've identified tools that actually span across many different sectors. So it's not just tools that if you're an immunologist, you can use. And this really, we see both two pillars, collaborative and also scientific. And these are tools, fundamental tools that we build from bottom up that can enable that research. Yeah. Yeah, so our tool is specifically built for scientists, so people doing the actual bench research work. And again, what we're doing is to maximize productivity. So it really fits into the way that they already do their work, whether they're writing it in pen and paper, documentation methods, or they're using ELN notebooks. We're just basically having another solution that they can streamline this and not just do their own typical work, but also collaborate with their other colleagues.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Our third presenter of the evening is ThruWave.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? I'm going to stand not in front of the podium because I'm not tall enough. My name is Claire Watts. I am the co-founder of ThruWave, along with Professor Matt Reynolds, who's here at the UW ECE department, and Andreas Pedros-Engel, a fellow postdoc with me in Matt's lab. So ThruWave makes the invisible visible with human-safe millimeter waves. So you're probably most familiar with millimeter waves from airport security screening. So you go in the tunnel, you put up your hands, and you're automatically screened for contraband material. So ThruWave is taking that technology from the security and defense space and adapting it for business purposes. But what do we actually do? ThruWave makes 3D millimeter wave images. So I'm showing some example images here from the packaged goods space. On the left here, we have a sealed cardboard box, what your traditional camera sees. In the center, I show some items that we've hidden inside that sealed box. And on the right, we have a ThruWave-produced 3D millimeter wave image. So you can see not only do we see right through the cardboard, but we're actually able to visualize these objects in 3 dimensions. So another way we can visualize this 3D data set is to look at 2D depth slices, very similar to an MRI or a CT scan, what I'm showing on the second row there. So you can see as we step through these depth slices or peel back the layers, we can kind of see how each one of these objects is illuminated individually. So you saw in the previous images that we not only get 3D information, but we can also see through opaque materials like cardboard. So ThruWave is able to do this with millimeter wave imaging technology. So here I show one of our devices next to a conveyor belt system. So we're imaging a sealed package as it goes by. ThruWave's imaging apparatus emits millimeter waves and then collects the reflected signal. Now, because millimeter waves can penetrate opaque packaging material, we are actually illuminating objects inside the box that are hidden from view. So in the end, we're kind of like an X-ray vision system, but because millimeter waves are harmless to humans, we're able to do this without the health hazards. So what we do is we make 3D images of items inside sealed packages that traditional camera systems can't see. So ThruWave's technology is exciting and impactful because we reduce manual labor and error rate in fulfillment, logistics, and manufacturing operations. We essentially hit on a big pain point of one of the largest growing industries in the world. Fulfillment and e-commerce are now a $1 trillion per year business. And so thus companies like UPS and FedEx are shipping up to 20 million packages a day. And where there are packages, there are errors. So what ThruWave enables these companies to do is look inside these packages and automatically audit them for errors. Basically, we're reducing the amount of manual labor from the quality control pipeline, thus saving these companies potentially hundreds of millions of dollars that they would normally spend in package error rate reduction. So let's take a look at how ThruWave's system would operate in, for example, a fulfillment center. Again, I've placed our device next to a conveyor belt system, so we're looking at packages before they leave the center. So we get a 3D image of a package, and then we then send that data to specialized image processing software, where it can flag the package for errors. I show an example here in the lower right, where we have a millimeter wave image of 2 folded t-shirts. The one on the left is contaminant-free. However, the one on the right has 2 broken metallic needles that have been identified and flagged as errors. So this package will automatically be flagged, diverted, and someone can deal with the issue. Essentially, we've removed the manual cost of opening a box from the quality control pipeline. So the ThruWave solution involves more than just our imaging hardware. We have this millimeter wave sensor modules, cloud image analytics, and specialized imaging algorithms. We create actionable items that can be read by MES and WMS systems and optimize fulfillment centers and warehouses. So with that, I ask you, the New Tech Northwest community, if you work in the fulfillment space, if you work in operations, or if you just have a cool use case that you think ThruWave can solve, please contact us. We'd love to hear from you. Yes. So we're operating between 15 and 30 gigahertz, so those are wavelengths on the order of a centimeter or so. There's many different ways that you can get spatial information. In the examples I showed here, we'll have a line array of antennas, and we'll actually use the motion of packages on the conveyor belt to get the spatial information. That's a good question. So she asked what distance we're able to see. And usually we're imaging things about within a meter of our sensor. Yes? Very quickly. So we are scanning conveyor belt systems that are going more than a few meters per second. So we're sampling at about kilohertz rates. Yes? That's a really good question. So he asked how we can identify, for example, a broken needle. So in the case you saw, we would be able to pick it out from a t-shirt because metal stands out very strongly from fabric in the millimeter wave imaging system. So that would kind of depend on the specific use case, and that would then guide how we chose to do our data analytics. So for example, we might be comparing to kind of a standard package, and if we see something different, then we would flag it for an error. Or if we're doing any sort of quality control, maybe we count the number of items, and if there's the wrong number of items, then we flag that package. Yes? That's a really great question. So the advantage over X-rays is that we're completely human safe. So if you were to install this in a warehouse near workers, you wouldn't need metal shielding, you wouldn't need a licensed technician. It's completely safe to be around. I should know I've been around one of these imaging systems every day for the past year. Yes? I can't speak too much about specifics, but we're certainly trying to talk to everyone in the space.
One more question.
Yeah. So that has to do with kind of where we reconstruct the image. The nice thing about millimeter waves is they're, again, completely harmless to humans, so there's kind of no downside of them penetrating further. We would just cut off where we reconstruct the image.
So our fourth out of 5 presentations this evening is Augury. Please welcome Augury.
Thanks. All right. Let me prep this up. Hi, good evening. I'm Manuel, and today I present Augury, which is a software that predicts visual design appeal across demographics. So every poster, every house wall or website is judged within a split second. The goal of visual design is to make this first impression positive. But how do we define good design? Well, the success metric for visual design quality is simple. Does it attract your audience? But knowing the aesthetic preferences of your audience is complex, and researching those preferences is costly, especially when you're in a web design context. This is why we created Augury. Augury calculates the website's design likelihood of attracting a specific demographic group. And here is how we do that. As a first step, we quantify visual design characteristics. Augury breaks down a website into its elements, like the number of images, the text, the dominant colors, and so on. For this, we use the OpenCV library in a Java interface and handle the input and output with a Node.js wrapper. Secondly, we promote online experiments to collect data about visual perception and aesthetic preference. Participants are exposed, sorry, I need this. Participants are exposed to a design screenshot for a split second and then are asked to rate it for visual appeal. For these experiments, we use Vue.js in the front end, an Express middleware, and Mongo to store the data. And this is all hosted in the Amazon cloud. Third, we use the demographic information, aesthetic preferences, and image metrics to build statistical models. These models enable us to map the quality of a design. For example, we can tell a designer if their work is too cluttered or too minimal for their target demographic. And that's how Augury works in a nutshell. Along the way, we made a couple of mistakes. For example, as we developed this software, we learned that we don't have to implement every functionality in order to test our product. We figured out that a prototype of a feature can also be a PDF that we give to clients who tell us if that's actually something they want to buy. As an advice, when you choose a technology stack to implement a web application or any other tech item, have in mind that you need to scale at some point. So don't keep it super easy all the time. At some point, you have to scale, and when your base code is crappy, well, that is really a pain in the ass. Also, fancy technology is much more fun and attracts developers to work with you. Another advice is to reach out and find people who want to collaborate with you at a very early stage. So that enables you to test ideas in a real-world scenario, and then you can prioritize which features you actually want to build into your final product. And ultimately, such a collaboration needs to feel really easy. Like, don't waste time with anybody who makes it complicated. You know, that's really a deal breaker in the beginning. Our next steps are to grow the team, advance our technology, and expand our budget. Surprise, we're a startup. And our goal is to provide applicable advice on aesthetics optimization. And we also wait for further NSF funding, and we'll contact venture capital this summer. Also, we are looking for a board member with software launching experience. So if that speaks to you, please feel free to reach out to us. And here are the many ways to contact us. Thank you. Yes, please.
First of all, thank you for teaching me that my company's website is very appealing in Russia.
Oh, well.
Second, how do you deal with concept drift or changing aesthetic over time?
So we continuously collect data about aesthetic appeal across demographic groups, and we also observe how that shifts over time. There are also design trends who, you know, bring a new kind of design pattern on the market, which then some bigger brands adapt, and then they might teach someone what is the newest thing that is very fancy, very elegant. So we monitor that over time, and our plan is to have a feature in the future that also can tell you, hey, your website is not only on a technology side outdated, but also on an aesthetic side, really behind the preferences of your target group. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Yes, please. Mm-hmm. The question was how we collect the data. So recently we launched like online experiments, which are web-based applications, and then we promoted them through social media, in that case Facebook, to get some data from US-located baby boomers, which was a great success. We also collaborate with open source online experiment platforms, where we launch these experiments as well. Yeah?
Do you feel that this technology will help accelerate design innovation or slow it down?
We hope that this fosters diversity in creativity. There are trends that especially smaller brands or companies mimic the market leaders and want to look like Apple, want to look like Nike or whatever. And we hope that by showing like, hey, specific target demographics have a very unique taste, that this encourages designers actually to make it a bit more special and not so much like the average design pattern that we see every day. Yep.
Does your product take into consideration web accessibility for people with varying, visual or hearing impairments? Since you're looking at websites.
That's a great question. There are already a couple of tools which...
Can you repeat the question?
Mm-hmm. Which tell you how people with visual impairments see your design. So this is not really in our focus, because there are already tools, but it's definitely a consideration for the future to have that feature embedded. Yeah. All right. One more, or? Please?
You come out with metrics there like complexity and visual appeal.
Mm-hmm.
How do you develop those semantic concepts out of numeric data? How do you develop the metrics?
So the question was how we develop the metrics. The computer vision library OpenCV provides us with a number of tools to break down an image. It tells us what is most likely to be text, what is a picture embedded, and we then collected data where we asked people, is this design complex or not so much, and then we could teach models to actually tell us if you have like 90% text, then your design is very complex, for instance. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. So our final presentation of the evening is AI to Incubator. Don't you guys know how this works? You're not new. Look at this. So, Jacob, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And share what's going on.
All right. So we are in the Paul Allen School of Computer Science and Engineering, and I work for another Allen-named organization called the Paul Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence. How many people here have heard of AI2? Okay. So, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what we're up to at something called the AI2 Incubator. But real quick, for those of you that didn't raise your hand, I'm going to give you a 1-minute overview on what AI2 is. And if you do know about AI2, you might not know where we are today. So Paul and Oren Etzioni, who used to teach here at the CS school, founded AI2 in 2014. And the goal was to have AI breakthroughs. Technology breakthroughs. Paul would come through and say, where are my breakthroughs? I want my breakthroughs. And we've worked hard to try and deliver on that and honor Paul, and we're still missing him. But nevertheless, over the last 4 years, we've put out 225 research papers. We've won 9 Best Paper Awards. We have incredibly cool open source products like Allen NLP or SemanticScholar.org, which now has 2.5 million people per month using it as an academic search engine. So Google Scholar, we're coming for you. But we're hoping to help people make it easier to find information and so on and so forth. But computer vision, natural language processing, speech, machine learning, deep learning, that is what we are focused on at the Research Institute. And then 2 years ago, we launched an incubator to commercialize a bunch of the AI technology that we have been developing at the Research Institute. And over the last 2 years, we've launched 5 companies officially, or 6 companies officially, rather. And we have a bunch more that are in stealth mode. Those companies are collectively worth $112 million. They've raised $25 million in venture funding, and they employ 120 or so people now. A lot of the people in this room might be interested in a job at one of the startups that we're building that are AI-first companies. And you're going to hear from one of them tonight. So that is the quick context of what we're up to. Now let me show you some of the technologies and some of the startups that we've been developing. The videos are not working. So this is called Xnor.ai. Anybody here heard of Xnor or familiar with Ali Farhadi? So Xnor was the very first company that we incubated at the incubator. They have real-time object detection. So what you would see is this happening on a $2 Raspberry Pi with no internet connection, no cell phone, no cloud processing. The model's hosted at the edge. But this is computer vision, for those of you that know what that is. But YOLO was something that we invented at AI2 with Ali and Joseph Redman and a number of those folks. Okay? None of these are working. That's okay. If this was working, what you would see is a before and after of an ultrasound image. And the before is what a doctor would normally see. And then after is a little white dot that is detecting, in this case, a vein in someone's arm. So as an ultrasound is being wanded over somebody's arm, or if you're trying to detect something else, we have designed an algorithm that can help a doctor see a vein in this case. And think of it as like spell check for medicine. You know, in the little red squiggly line when you've misspelled a word, we have a little white dot that helps you see what you're trying to see. So that's a good way to think about this particular company's efforts. But we're trying to apply AI to medicine in ways that are going to reduce the cost of care and improve quality and so on and so forth. This is pose estimation. So we have a company working on AI for sports that is able to measure somebody's gait and stance and all kinds of stuff to really help athletes improve sports and go on and so forth. And then lastly, I have a special guest here. Come on up, Michael. We're going to go over a minute. I'm sorry. Well, wait, before you click it, let me just give you a little quick context. So Michael graduated from the University of Washington in 2017, 2018? 1 year ago. 13 months later, Michael is now the CTO of a major venture-funded startup that just raised millions of dollars in venture capital, and this is another example of what we do at the incubator. So if you are a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old or a 30-year-old that's here at UW that's thinking about starting your own company, we get you. We are your kind of place to come and build a company. We are just as crazy as you are, and we love doing this stuff, and we're good at it now. We've been doing this for a few years. We know what we're doing. And so this is Michael's product. But before you press play, I want to ask you a Turing test. Okay. What in this video was artificially generated? That's the Turing test. Okay? Everybody ready? All right. Press play. Hopefully there's sound.
Fashion changes, but style lasts forever. Click here to shop the latest styles from the Style House. New collection and free shipping available. A new taste for a new year.
Okay. What was artificially generated in that video? We have a hand. The connection between the images and the audio. Okay. Yes. The fire. Okay. What else? Yes. All of it. Ooh, good choice. Well, you know the answer, so I'm not going to give it to you. You saw this before. It was the voice. That is a completely synthesized voice. Well, it was a real human at one point. And then Michael, with his amazing algorithm that he developed at Well Said, synthesized that voice. Okay? So I'm going to hand it over to Michael and allow him to talk about what he did.
Thanks, Jacob. So my name is Michael, and I'm the CTO of Well Said Labs. And without AI2 Incubator, this is not a startup that we could have done in Seattle. It took us about a year of experimentation in artificial intelligence with the support of AI2 to be able to clone and to be able to model the voice of a voice actor and to be able to get it to a high enough quality that now we're releasing a product. 100 people are already using it to create high quality media content. Cool. Looks like everything's crashing.
That's okay.
It's okay. Just go to the next slide, please.
Well, I'm trying.
All right.
That's
cool.
Yeah.
Our product, and you just heard it, this demo was created with 15 to 30 minutes of work from a user. And so the use cases.
Just keep talking. We have to pull it up again.
Yeah. So with our product, we're imagining kind of this new future. Within the next year, we don't think, or within the next 18 months, nobody's going to be doing radio advertisements anymore. Voice actors aren't going to have to sit down and do radio advertisements for like different cities, different states. With our product, we can allow voice acting to really scale and be iterative. For example, and one thing I love to talk about a lot is there's a game called Red Dead Redemption. They had to hire over 700 voice actors in New York City in order to create this expansive video game universe. And that takes up a lot of time. You have to set up contracts, you have to set up interviews, you have to bring them in to an audio booth, then you have to give them feedback, and if something doesn't go wrong, you want to just change the script one time, you have to re-sign that contract and do that again. We're solving that problem. One way to think about this, great, looks like the slides are working, guys. I made it. So voice is everywhere. We're going after call centers, we're going after video, we're going after e-learning, we're going after assistive devices. One that speaks to me a lot is the assistive device field. Our process is entirely automated, and we can clone a person's voice from a couple hours of audio. So I think no one's going to have to use a Stephen Hawking-like voice anymore with their assistive devices. We can clone the real voice and be able to bring back the personality to a person who's lost their voice later in life. We can also think about audiobooks. We don't have to have Google Home or Amazon Alexa reading audiobooks in kind of a dry, monotone, stale way. We can create, this program allows us to create lifelike, expressive audiobooks as if you're listening to it from a voice actor. So we recently closed a bunch of funding. We have a bunch of customers that that are looking for a lot of feature development and are looking for us to expand this product and support their needs. So we're hiring. We need engineers across the entire product. And if you don't want to start your own startup and take the leap of faith there, you know, we're already doing great, and you can join as a founding employee of our company. Cool. Questions?
Any questions for Michael or for me? Question.
So unlike a lot of, so the question was about how do you embed emotion. Unlike a lot of text-to-speech solutions, we don't try to control individual variables of the speech. So we don't necessarily embed emotion. We use a new technique, and I'm sure many of you have heard of it, deep learning, and we're using an end-to-end approach here. So at the beginning of the model, we input the text, and at the end of the model, we get out the voice. So we don't have any concept of controlling exactly how the model is learning these interdependencies behind emotion, pausing, or stress. However, we can control emotion through a data-driven context. We can annotate that emotion and see what the model learns correlates with this voice actor being angry or with this voice actor being sad. Yeah. Cool.
Can you apply this technology to like singing?
Singing, yes. Preliminary research is showing that singing is working quite well, surprisingly well, actually. Yes, so English is actually one of the hardest languages to model, so it works even better in other languages. The problem with English is the characters don't translate well to sounds, so that causes some instability during the learning process.
How does somebody who wants to work for you guys get in contact?
Yeah.
Good question. That's on the next slide. So clicker, there we go. So wellsaidlabs.com. Or, well, that website isn't technically up yet. I was hoping it was, but we didn't hit our delivery deadline. But Alan AI works, and you can find the incubator there, and of course, I'll hang around for a few minutes afterwards. And yeah, so I think we are way over. Apologies, but come on down and chat with us afterwards. We'd love to chat with you. A few quick things. Well Said is hiring the employee number 1, employee number 2, and employee number 3. So if you want to be one of the first 3 employees at an extremely cool startup, come talk to Michael afterwards. Yes.
We closed funding just like 4 weeks ago, super early on. We're just now getting started.
Yeah. That's a nice way of saying that they can pay your salary for a long time. So, so Michael's doing well. The Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence has like 15 job openings, so if you want to come on down and do that, and then of course, if you're a pirate and you don't want to work for the British Navy and you want to start your own company, we specialize in turning you into the next CEO or CTO, and we've done it 6 times. So come talk to me afterwards if you want to do your own thing. Thank you for coming. I guess I will say thanks to Brett and Green. By the way, Sarah stole my line, but I'll say again, Sarah and I built the Impact Hub like 7 or 8 years ago, and really it stayed together because Sarah held it together with duct tape, and it's doing really well now. But we hosted the first New Tech Seattle. I still remember that. It was like baby green and baby red, and now you're all grown up green and grown up red. So that was super fun, and I love what you've done. And hand to Brett, for having worked for 7 years to organize the community here. That's pretty amazing. It only takes a couple people in a city to really bring a community together, and you've stood up at least once every 2 months for the last 7 years to do that. So as a member and a beneficiary of your hard work, thank you on behalf of the Seattle startup community for that. So,
thank you, guys. So one more round of applause for all of our presenters tonight. If you had a good time tonight, if you want to connect more with our community by sponsoring, advertising, or presenting, just reach out to me. That's my email address. Actually, it was changed to hi, but that'll still get to me. Or you just go to our website and hit the contact button, and we can give you more information on that. If you're looking for a job, we do quarterly job fairs. The next job fair is coming up June 20th. There's usually 20 to 30 employers there, and they range from startups to enterprise. And a lot of the jobs, we take the top 10 jobs from each company and put them on our job fair website and our regular job site, our regular website, so you can actually see if there's some jobs that align for you. Our next event in Seattle will be at ThinkSpace, which is on Lake Union on June 11th. Our events in Seattle are generally the second Tuesday of every month. It's just like this, except the presenters won't be from UW. We try to get them from different disciplines, so maybe there's a robotics, there's an IoT, there's a VR, so there's a good mix of different companies for you to learn from. And Eastside, our next one is next week, which is a Women in Tech event. And we do 4 of those a year, 2 in Seattle and 2 on Eastside. And New Tech Tacoma, we do quarterly. The next one is July 10th. So thank you for hanging out. There's a lot of things you could be doing tonight, and especially with the weather being better, it's a little harder to get people indoors, even though today was a little bit drizzly. New Tech is what it is because of the community, and because you share yourselves, you help each other out, and you come together to do something besides just a transactional event and build some relationships and do some great things. We hear amazing stories all the time of people who find employees, they find partners, they find all sorts of great things because you guys come and share who you are. So I really appreciate you taking your time tonight to be with us, share who you were, and to appreciate the innovation being created at UW and in Seattle. If you are in a chair, I would ask you to please fold that chair and put it on the wall. That'll help us clean up quicker. If there's anything around you, please pick it up. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. We hope to see you soon. Take care.